What's up, guys? Mr. Mo100 here. And because I've been doing a lot of videos with Gmod recently, I decided I'd bring you something different. Although it's not that much different because I have done a video on this subject before, but it's going to be a top 5 Pokemon video. And it's not my top 5 favorites because I've already done that. No, what I'm going to do is my top 5 evolutionary lines in Pokemon. Number 5 is the Skrelp and Dragalge, Dragalge. I don't know. I'm going to call it Dragalge for now, just because I have no idea how to pronounce the goddamn name. But yeah, number 5 is the Skrelp Dragalge line, specifically because of the typing differences. Skrelp is a poison and water type, and when it evolves, it becomes poison and dragon. And I don't know why, but I found that pretty interesting. Just the fact that, one, I love the way Dragalge looks, and how it kind of relates to the way Skrelp looks. Two, I thought it was, the typing was really interesting, just the way it changed like that. You figure they'd just make Skrelp a poison type instead of making it poison water, although it kind of looks like a seahorse, so I guess that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But you figured they'd make the fucking Skrelp. You figured they'd make Skrelp a single type, and when it evolves, it would gain another type. But no, they gave Skrelp dual typing and then changed it to Poison Dragon when they got Dragalge. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Number 4 is the Eevee line, and everybody knew this was going to be on here. Eevee is the one Pokemon that, when you think of evolution, it is pretty much synonymous with it, just because of how many Pokemon it is able to evolve into. You can do a lot of things with the evolutions of Eevee, not the least of which is pretty much pick out your favorite type and evolve Eevee into a Pokemon of that type. Granted, they're not as powerful or have as extensive a move pool as others, but I mean, we're not talking about good Pokemon here. We're talking about the coolest evolutionary lines, and Eevee definitely has to be on the list. But because everybody loves Eevee for that specific reason, it kind of lost some of what made it so cool. Like, it was always kind of unique, kind of just, oh my god, Eevee can evolve into that many Pokemon. Everybody knows at this point, and it just isn't as cool anymore. So it only takes number 4 on my list. Okay, so I'm kind of cheating here for number 3, but I picked the Manaphy and Phione line. Yes, that's not really an evolutionary line, but the only way you can get Phione is by breeding Manaphy, and the egg that hatches after a Manaphy and Ditto, egg mating time, is a Phione. I suppose you could mate 2 Manaphys, but that would require getting 2 Manaphys, which is fucking impossible. So, yeah, you breed Manaphy with a Ditto, and you get a Phione. And, yeah, that's pretty much a family evolutionary line. So, yes, it's kind of cheating. No, I don't give a damn. Number 3 on the list because it's cool and it involves legendaries. Number 2 on the list is the Wurmple line. For obvious reasons, this one, Wurmple either evolves into Silcoon or Cascoon, and then Cascoon will evolve into Dustox, and Silcoon will evolve into Beautifly. The reason I thought that I like this one is because, one, it is one of the earliest series, of evolutions that you will come across in Generation 3, and if you're new to Pokemon, you can access it pretty early in the Gen 3 games. So, it happens early, it all branches off of a single Pokemon, and I just really like how they kind of brought actual animals and actual nature into the series, into the Pokemon series, using Wurmple as a base and turning it into a moth or a butterfly. It makes sense. It's worldly accurate sort of, as worldly accurate as Pokemon can be, but yeah, because of all the Pokemon you can get from the line, and the fact that it happens really, really really quick, Wurmple and its evolutionary line makes this list at number 2. And finally at number 1 is the Nincada line. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Nincada's possible evolutions, at level 20, Nincada naturally evolves into a Ninjask, which is the quickest Pokemon in the game, and is actually one of my competitive Pokemon, just because of its speed boost ability in X and Y. So yeah, I like Ninjask, that's one reason. But number 2, and perhaps for the most important reason here, is because of Shedinja. If you don't know, Shedinja has probably the best ability in Pokemon, Wonder Guard, which basically makes it immune to almost everything. There are 5 types that it is weak to: Ghost, Flying, Fire. I don't remember the rest. The point is, it is almost impossible to injure, although if you do hurt it, it dies because it only has 1 HP, but it's one of the more, interesting Pokemon, not just because of its ability and its stats and just the way it is in general, but because it is the reincarnated exoskeleton of Nincada after Nincada evolved into Ninjask. Basically, if you evolve Nincada and you have a spare Pokeball in your bag, and you have an extra slot available in your party, a Shedinja will just show up in that last slot, along with the Ninjask. The funny thing is, they will be the same level, and they will have the exact same moves, the Ninjask and the Shedinja. So, basically, you get 2 Pokemon for the price of 1 every time you evolve a Nincada, as long as you have a Pokeball and an extra party slot. I think that's pretty cool, especially since Shedinja is so fucking awesome. I said I use Ninjask, which a lot of people do as a supporter because of its speed boost ability and because of Protect and Swords Dance. But I'm actually kind of training up a Shedinja to be a competitive sweeper. Hopefully it works. With the Pokemon I'm using, it should do well, provided it goes up against something that it isn't weak to, because it can only be damaged by things that have super effective attacks against it. Bottom line, Shedinja makes this awesome, and that is why it takes number 1 on my list. Hooray!